In today's video, I'm going to show you how to build your very own AI agent that can research any topic that you want, build really great PDF outputs. We're going to be using OpenAI's O3 model, so you're going to get some great in-depth research that comes out the back of it. I'm going to get it in an absolutely amazing format, like you can see here. So it comes through in the format that we need, whether that's in text or in PDF, so that we can go through and do it. And it's not going to come through as the markdown formatting that you would have in the past. So let's jump in and see how it works. What we need to do is come across to our agent. We'll do test workflow. We'll get a form that comes up. We can say Formula 1 Grand Factor cars. That's the topic we want to research. We want to say that it's going to be in a casual tone. We're going to send this off. It'll go through and start doing its research. We're going to come on and we're going to turn our webhook on for our make.com scenario. We've already started through, so we're now going to come up with 5 queries that we want to go through and investigate, like we can see here. We're then going to go through and be able to use our O3 model. So again, this is done. We're going to use a bit of trickery here to make sure that we can get the O3 model, be able to go through and use it. We can also use our SERP API if we want to go off and search the internet as well. We're going to come through, we're going to generate a summary of it. We're going to actually come up with a great title that's going to go through. We're going to send this across to our make.com scenario, and we're going to be using webhooks to be able to do that. We're going to use OpenAI. We can use others to format the response that comes out the back of this, so that we can make that great output that we showed in the PDF in Google Docs. We're then going to be able to download that file. We're going to make sure that we upload it into that drive because we're going to be storing it as a PDF. We'll then be capturing that ID, sending it back across to our agent, and then we'll be able to get the file in here. So you'll be able to get it 2 different ways if you want to see the actual end result. So if we come through here, we'll just wait for this to complete. And then we'll see the result in here, and we'll see it in our own n8n agent. There we go. It's found all the information, formatted it, it's put it into our Google Docs. We've then got the webhook response that's come back through. So we can see the PDF result in here. So as you can see there, an absolutely fantastic result that's come back. We've got all of the different sections in here. We can come a bit further down. It's got some analysis that's come through as well. We can come down the bottom. It's got the conclusion. We've got all of the references that are part of this as well. And that's how quick and easy it is to do. And I'm going to show you exactly how to build this from scratch. So let's jump straight in. So we want to come across to a new scenario. We're going to come across to our community. We're going to come across to classroom. We're going to come across to AI agent. We're going to come down to this one, which is n8n plus AI. We're going to come down and download our n8n blueprint. We'll do download. We'll come back into our scenario. We'll do import from file. We'll then come across and we'll do n8n import from file. And as you can see here, it'll be all ready to go. But as mentioned, we're going to be doing this from scratch together. So to do that, we need to come across and we'll do on form submission. We're going to get a new unique URL that we're going to be using, which is how we'll be able to import it. We're not going to require any authentication. We're going to say research agent as the title. You can put a description in there if you want to. We're going to have a few fields in here. So for example, topic to be researched, and then you can add some placeholder text in here if you want to. We can come down another element. So we can say tone of the report, and then we're going to change this to be actually having a drop down list. So we can say casual, we can say professional, or we could say scientific. And then it'll give us a few different options. Now, if we do test, it'll pop it out. And as you can see here, we've got the topic to be researched and the different forms that we want it to be written in. So if we come back and give this a quick test, we can say test, and then we'll do professional, we'll send that off. And as you can see, we've now got that response coming through. So we've got tone of the report and the topic that we need. So great, that's what we need to be able to start off with. So the first part that we're going to do is really understand how we're going to do this analysis with 5 additional queries. So to do that, we're going to come to advanced agent. We're going to come into our AI agent. We're then going to come down and do define below. And all we want to do is put across the topic to be researched. And that's what we're going to add in there. Now, how does it know what to do? Well, twofold. We're going to turn on this specific output. And we're also going to do system message and then paste in here. And if I just change this to expression and open it up, what we're also going to do is change this so that we can add it in here. And again, you get access to all of this in the resources link below. And what we're basically explaining it to do, that it needs to go through and really analyze the topic we've provided. It's then going to go through and identify 5 additional queries to really round out this analysis that's applicable to that topic that we're going through today. If we come back into here and we do test, so again, what we'll get on the right hand side here, nothing because we haven't connected it up. So we need to give it a AI model. So again, we're going to be using OpenAI, but if you wanted to use something like OpenRouter, you'd be able to do that as well. Personally, I think that Claude is the best one for actually being able to get really nice sounding responses. So we've got that in there. The tool output parser, we're just going to say structured output. And then what we'll do is we'll come back into our agent, we'll open this up and copy this example output. And then we'll come back into our output parser, paste in there, and now we'll get it in the response that we're looking for. So now, again, if we give this a quick test, what we'll get is an output that comes through with 5 additional queries. So if we come down to output, there we go. Exactly as we got there, a few examples that we're able to use. So that's the first part. This is going to be our search query agent because it's really going to be defining how we go through and do that analysis. The next stage, we're actually just going to use an OpenAI module, and we're going to do message a model. Now, I mentioned about using O3, but what we can see here is if we've got O, we can then see we've got GPT-3o, we've got GPT-4, we've got all of these different ones in here. We've got O1, but we haven't got O3. Well, actually, to do that, what you need to do is change this from list to actually to ID. And all we'll do is change it to O3. And again, you can do mini or you can do the full version. It's whatever you prefer. So we can paste our prompt in here. So we'll paste that in there. We'll do expression. We'll open this up and now we'll be able to run through exactly what we're changing. So what we'll do is just pull this across for the research topic. We can change the desired length if we want to. I'll get rid of that for this example. And then we're going to add the tone in here. And again, what we've got in here are the example outputs, the example queries that we're going to be using. And what I really love about n8n is on the right-hand side here, you'll see exactly how that AI is going to get the information come through. So for example, from our previous test, we can see what those additional questions would be, the research topic, and the tone that we would want it written in. So again, lots of useful information in here. What you'll notice, this structure is slightly different to our usual ones. And that's because if I come across to this paper here, it was done by Niall. It's a really great report and it shows actually how we need to break down an O1 prompt, which is different to when we work through and prompt normally with other agents like a GPT-4o or something like Claude or Sonnet. This is actually the format that we get the best response for O3 or any of the deep reasoning models from OpenAI. So we'll add that in there. And then what we'll be able to do is test step. So what we should get is an example that comes through on the right-hand side. Again, this is going to take a little while to go through and complete because O3 is, again, that deep reasoning model. It's going to be going through and really doing some analysis behind the scenes and trying to provide that best output possible. And that's why it's really good. Again, think about how you could use this. Is this a report for yourself? Is it a report for a topic that you're doing, a company you're analyzing, maybe a market sector, or maybe you're using it for some marketing, maybe a newsletter that you're getting through? You'd be able to do that as well. So as we can see here, if I just open up JSON, we've now got this really long report that's going to come through with some citations, but it's not in a format that we're able to use at the moment. But what we need to be able to do is format that and use that. We'll change that to our O3 recent agent. Again, if you want to use the tools around searching the internet, you can come through and do SERP API. And then you'll be able to go through and actually use that and search the internet if you want to. I'm not going to connect that up today. Brilliant. So that's the first part. The next part, we're going to be going through and we're going to come into advanced AI, but we're going to use a basic LLM chain. And then what we're going to do is define below. Now in this one, what we want to be able to do is actually have our executive summary come through at the top, because this is going to make sure that we get a really great output for actually that report at the end. So what we need to do is actually change the tone required that we've got here. So if we come back down on the left-hand side, we'll do tone required. And what we've got the prompt in here is just very simple. We're looking for an executive summary of that really in-depth report, which is all of this content here. So again, if you're looking to incorporate that, you just come across to where we've got content, pull that across. And then as you can see on the right-hand side here, that's the entire report that we've got at the moment. And we're looking to put a exec summary at the top. This is really good if you want to use it for yourself, or if you don't have time to read through all of it, you're able to do that as well. Again, we're going to come down and just use OpenAI for this. But again, you can change that to whatever model you would want. OpenRouter is great at that because it enables you to have all of the different models. So if I search OpenRouter, we'll come across, as you can see here, we can search for the models. They got lots of different ones. We can come across to models. And you'll see that we've got so many that we can choose from. Anthropic, we've got Meta, we've got OpenAI, we've got all of the different ones, including DeepSeek as well. So if you're looking for something that's really cost efficient, you could have a look at DeepSeek as well. We'll just rename this to generate exec summary, and then that will be all good to go. So now if we give it a test, we'll get the output on the right-hand side here, which will be an executive summary of that report that we've requested. So again, output, there we go. Now, what we also need to do is generate a title. So again, we'll come across, we'll do advanced AI, we'll do basic LLM chain. We're going to change this to define below. And then what we're going to do is paste our prompt in here, change to expression. And then basically all we've said in here is that we need to generate a report for this title. Again, don't include any other information. And then we're just pasting in the actual exec summary. So we're not trying to use up all of our tokens by going through all of the information. We just want a high level title that we can use. So if we do test step, we need to add our AI brain as well. So again, we'll come down at OpenAI and we'll just use GPT-4o mini in this case. So if we do test step again, what we'll get is if we come back into here, now we've got a really quick title that's come through so that we're able to use that in the part that we're going to go through next. So we've now got the ability to capture the request that we want to go through and analyze. We're going to come up with 5 queries around the actual investigation. We're going to do our investigation with our O3 model, come up with an executive summary, and also come up with a title. Brilliant. So the next stage is, if I just bring this down to the bottom, is we're going to need to go through and actually format that report so that we get it to look like this one at the end here, and it's really good and usable versus the markdown formattings, which I'm sure many of you have seen in the past, which if we come back into our agent, they're probably looking something like this. So again, not very nice from a HTML point of view. Or if we come across to here, it's just got the pure markdown formatting. So it's not as good, doesn't look as interesting as if we have our one here, which is all formatted, nice and easy to read. So we'll get through all of these examples. We'll come back into our research agent across here. And then what we're going to be doing is using a HTTP model request here. And we need to go through and add a bit of information in here. Now to do this, we're going to come across to make.com. I found this just provides a better output, more consistent output if we're looking for something that's, well formatted like this. If we don't have this and use n8n, we tend to find that it's not as consistent, doesn't always provide the same output. And sometimes you get ones that look more like this just with the HTML versus the formatted version that we want as an output. So coming back across to make.com, we're going to do webhooks. We're going to do custom webhook. We need to add one in here. So we'll call it n8n O3 research agent. We'll copy this link. We'll come back across to our agent and then we're going to put it in here for the URL. We're going to send across some body. We're just going to use the fields below. So we're going to give it 3 parameters here and we're going to do report title. So you just need to come across, pull report title across. We're going to do report exec summaries. We'll pull that across into there as well. And then the last one here, we're going to go down and put across the full report content. So we'll come in here and do report content. So now if we send this across, what we'll be able to do is if we just come in here, we'll see it's determining the data structure. We can do test step. We should get a 200 or accepted, as you can see. And then if we come across to here, successfully determined. Now, if we run this again and we execute the step, all is passed across. So as you can see here, we've now got all of that information for that report. So we'll be able to go through and use that. And that's where we now need to go through and format everything. So we're going to get a really nice output at the end. So what we can come through and do is we can do OpenAI, or again, you can use OpenRouter. Again, if you're using OpenRouter, you'd be able to actually have all of the different LLMs. So for example, here, as you can see, lots more choices. So again, depends on what you prefer. We're just going to use the OpenAI one today to keep it a bit more simple to get that end result. The next one here, we're going to do create a chat completion. You need to make sure that you've added your API key in here if you haven't already. If you're looking to do that, all you need to do is come across to Playground OpenAI and then create a new key in the top right, copy it across, and you'll be all good to go. And you just paste it in here and that'll make sure that you've got connection. For the model, we're just going to come down and use GPT-4o mini. Again, we can choose one of the latest ones that they've got available. So we'll use this one. And then what we're going to do is give it a prompt. And that will be able to ingest all of the information as well as have a priming prompt that tells it what it needs to do. So if we come into here, we'll be able to copy our prompts across. So again, that priming prompt and that completion prompt. So we need 2 messages, one which is going to be assistant and then one which is going to be user. So if we copy and paste our prompts across, what it will look like for the first one is we're basically asking it to combine the executive summary, the main report, all of the titles, and we're looking for a HTML output, which is going to make sure that it's formatted in Google Docs in the way that we want it. The second part is as simple as we come down here, we're looking to give it all of that relevant information. So if we copy it across, We're giving it today's date, so it will say the date that it was actually generated. We can put across our report title, we can put across our report summary, and we can put across the full report. What this will enable us to do is, if we just change this to say like 4,000 tokens, is make sure that we get a really nice formatted report, and then we can do that. The next stage is we're going to do Google and then Docs. Again, make sure that you've got your connection already set up. We're going to do create a document. We need to give it a name, so we can do report title. And then the second part is we're going to do the result from OpenAI, and that's going to be all good to go. What we want to do is save this in our location. So there we go. I've just given it a location where it's going to save it. We'll do save report. The next one we'll do Google and then Drive, and we're going to be downloading a file. And this is where we're going to change it into PDF. And now we need to add in our file ID. So we'll just put across where we've got document ID. We'll do save. And this is going to be download a file. But what we also need to do is come back into here, and we're going to change the advanced settings, and we're going to change this to PDF. So all of the Google Docs are going to be downloaded as a PDF. The next stage we'll do Google Drive, and then all we're going to do is upload a file, and then we're going to come through and just enter that folder ID, or we can go through and do it manually. So we're just going to save it in the exact same one that we had a bit earlier. But again, if you wanted to change that, so you had it maybe ready to go in a newsletter space, you could do that. You could do some filtering. So this is personal use, this is marketing use, this is actually for some of our newsletters. We could do that as well. And then we're just going to say upload a file, and we'll come in and we'll just resave that to get rid of that. And we'll do webhook response. And then what we're going to do is send back the file ID to our agent that we've got in n8n. So if we come back into n8n, we're going to be sending off all of this information. We need to come down to the bottom. We're going to do add option. We're going to do response, and then we're just going to leave it like that. And now it's going to send off all of this information and wait for a response to come back. And that's what we're going to do next. And we're going to do Google and then Drive. And then what we'll do is come through to here, and we'll do download a file. And then what we're going to do is make sure that we're all authenticated. So again, if you've not done that before in n8n, you need to come through and add a client ID and client secret. To find that, you need to come into Google Cloud. You need to set up a project. We covered that in another video, so I'm not going to go into it in details here. We'll come across to APIs and services. You need to make sure that you enable what we've got in here, so Google Docs. So then what we'll be able to do is come into here and see that we've got it enabled. So this will say managed at the moment, so we know it's enabled. If we come back into our APIs and services, we'll come across to credentials where we've got OAuth to client ID. We'll click into there. And then what we need to do is copy our client ID from here, client secret, come back into here and make sure you're all authenticated. When you go through and do the setup, again, mention the email address that you've got as a test user, because then when you go through and do sign in with Google, it's going to actually authenticate that specific email address, and then you'll go green and you'll be able to use that. Again, I'll include the links below and a pop-up here. So if you want to go through and see how to do that in details. Now what we're going to do is download, and then we're going to do ID, because we're going to be passing back that ID that we've just generated from the response. So if we give this a quick test, what we'll do is come out of here, we'll do save, we'll make sure that we've got this saved and run once. We'll come into our agent and we'll do test workflow. We'll just come in here and we'll do placeholder for now, because otherwise it won't let us run it. So we could say, how does AI improve productivity? Say we want it to be professional, we can do submit. So now, again, as mentioned, we've got it in here. We've now got our 5 questions that are going to go through and actually investigate and support this O3 research. We're going to wait for that to come back with all of the insights. Again, this will take a little while to do because it's a really in-depth research model. Again, we can change that to be maybe Claude if you wanted to in the future for some of their Opus, their deeper reasoning models. It just depends on the preferences that you have. Again, you could use an AI agent to do that instead. I've just got one of the basic pure OpenAI models here instead. We've now got the result that's come through. We're going to do a quick exec summary. We've sent off this report in here. So now we're going to start trying to format that report. We'll then save the report, download the file as a PDF, upload it back into our Google Drive for usage in the future. And then we're going to send back that file ID to our n8n agent to be able to pull that specific report out. Let me know how you guys would use this. Is there a specific area of interest that you would really do some research reports on? Would you do this regularly? Maybe get some market reports generated if you're maybe in the financial space or private equity, or if you're doing something around market analysis, you could do that as well. If you're doing newsletters, there's so many different possibilities with this. It looks like we're coming through, downloading the file, uploading the file, and then we've sent it back. We've not got the ID in here, so we just need to change that. So if we come back into Google Drive, we'll get rid of that. Now where we've got our HTTP request, we'll pull that across, and then we can do test step. And what we should get is the really nice formatted output. So if we click view, there we go. We've got all of that report coming through, all of the information, all of the references at the bottom as well. And what you're also able to do is download it here if you wanted to. So again, maybe you're using that in some conversations. That's been a really quick video just on how to build your own AI agent that does research. All of the resources are in the link below. Stay tuned for more around AI agents and have a great day.